And I did not realize I was doing this because it was kind of so ingrained in me. But I was acting as this independent woman. That's the way I was raised, never to depend on a man. I had to do everything myself. And I had this weird, like, male-female struggle thing when it came to relationships. Now, when it came to everyday life, I actually related to men better than women. I was shooting, I was working on cars. I always hung out with men, but in a relationship, I was always vying for this. You don't tell me what to do, and I don't need you. I have my own money. And it wasn't until 2008, after 4 years of marriage, when I realized, wow, we have an economic collapse. I'm pregnant with our first child. There's no acting jobs for me now. I mean, I had a little bit of money, but not a lot. And that's where, you know, we were on the verge of losing it all. We were under an enormous attack from other desperate people losing their money. So it was the first time we were under a major lawsuit. It was the first time I had to had the realization that people will attack you. And coming from never having a lot of money, it was hard for me to even understand that people actually target you. I was very naive back then. But back to the point, I was confronted with having to look at real issues. And at the time, the real issue was I was not going to have an acting career that could get us out of this situation at that time. And Grant, his business as we knew it was over. However, you know, in a real honest hard look, he had a better chance if I got behind him and supported him and flew him as much power as I possessed into us. Then I felt like that was our real hope of survival, to survive those times. And so I was confronted with having to look like a sellout, look like a woman that was a gold digger, or that women were going to hate because I I traded in my acting career to support a man. Like, I had so many fears of letting my parents down, who always wanted me to be a successful actress and never like give up on my dreams. So I had to really, as an entrepreneur, because that's what an entrepreneur does, they put something at risk in hopes that it'll pay off. And the return of investment did pay off because I married an honorable man. But at the time, it was really scary. And I had to look at what I was doing to hold us back in the relationship. And in us fighting each other and not working in a coordinated, collaborated effort, we weren't able to get into those heightened levels of success. But once I was willing to trade in the acting career, trade in all those old antiquated ideas that weren't even really my own, I had adopted them from wherever, society, parents, whomever. But once I was able to put all of those aside and really say, this is me, this is what I believe in, I'm not going to be apologetic about it. If worst case scenario happens and he leaves me for a younger woman, like so many people said he would, then I was like, what's the worst thing that could happen? I could be humiliated. So what? Been there, done that. I land on my feet and I'm not a victim. So there was no worst case scenario for me because I will survive any circumstance. So that's when we were able to fortify and really lay the foundation. And as you mentioned in those other books, we were able to figure out who does what in the relationship based on our strengths and weaknesses, not based on male, female, but based on our strengths and weaknesses. And we put each other in charge of certain divisions. And we dellied it up, and I got to be the boss of this area, this area, this area, and this area. And he can give me all the advice he wants in the world. But in the end of the day, I'm the executive, and what I say goes, and he needs to support that. And vice versa. It just so happens not many people are going to outbeat Grant in business. So, you know, so we picked him to run the business and make all those executive decisions. And sometimes I don't like the decisions, but I support all of his decisions because he's never been wrong and he has a proven track record. And I'll tell you, that foundation, when we were able to get that in and work together instead of against each other, and we started really making the real enemies our enemies and not each other, we were able to fortify and boost each other up into heightened levels of success.
That makes that sounds, it's a lot of information. let me ask you. Let me ask you this. What are your strengths and what are Grant's strengths?
Um, it's a loaded question, but off of the top of my head,
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's a lot of. Go ahead.
Grant is really smart in business, and his strengths are that he will make a hard decision, even if it's unpopular with a lot of
Yeah.
people. He will undergo an extreme amount of heat and criticism and judgment if he knows that his decision is going to be better for the long term for
Yeah.
everyone. So I admire that he doesn't acquiesce to others that will never understand what it takes to be in his position and to be a leader, and I admire that. Some of my strengths are, well, I mean, obviously, I'm really good with the home
Yeah.
and the kids, and it's, and again, it's not a male female thing, it's just innately how I am. I'm very soft, I'm very loving, I'm very careful. I'm also very protective, and I guard us extremely well. I could be better.
Yeah.
I keep making mistakes because of my weakness. You know, I want to help people, and sometimes I have a tendency to believe everything that people tell me, even when it's not true and they don't have your best intentions in mind. But here's the thing with me: you only make one mistake,
Yeah.
and then you're out. When you're really out, you're out, and you're not coming back in. And with Grant, his weakness is that because he wants to help so many people,
Yeah.
sometimes he's more willing to give somebody a
No, that's
second
what you're
chance.
saying. Yeah.
And so then it's my job to make that other person not be accessible to Grant, because I need to prevent a situation like that from happening. Because again, I've learned from past mistakes that that the second chance doesn't
Yeah.
pay off.
I identified one of your strengths, and I know Grant's talked about it. He said like you're very like a visionary, futuristic kind of big thinker. How do you translate? How do you communicate that? How do you use that strength to how do you use that strength to empower Grant? Because I think that's what makes y'all very, very, very powerful, is because like you have this big, like you can do anything in the world, and Grant's a hunter. Like all men are hunters, and I think that one thing that I really respect about you is that you bring out the hunter in him that like every man, you know, would like his wife to do, or that's possible for anybody to do.
Yeah, but it sounds better on paper and how
Yeah.
you say it, because I don't know if all men want that, because
That's true.
it's not always pretty, you know.
Yeah.
You know, like for what you tell me when I first told Grant you need to become a billionaire, you know, that was met with an extreme amount of resistance. He's the one that has to go hammer and hunt, as you call it, and he has to be on the battlefield. And it's easy for me to sit back and say, you need to do this, and
Yeah,
you
it's
know,
true.
and he can perceive it as I'm ungrateful and blah 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 blah. And so again, it takes numerous conversations to be able to get somebody else to see that the only reason you put such an expectation on someone is because you do know their greatness, and you do know their value, and you do know that if they don't have a target big enough, that they end up attacking you rather than going off and becoming the best person that they can become. So I just have a vision, and I saw him for who he is. But you know, some people, you know, it's not pleasant to be pushed and whatnot. But I think when you understand what kind of a partner you have, and a partner that's willing to make sacrifices. I've never told him he works too late. I've never told him he needs to pay me more attention, even though I do like that he's getting me gifts on this birthday. Usually he doesn't. But I have made it very easy for him to walk in the steps, because I understand I made those demands on him.
Yeah.
Because I want him to be the man who he wants to be.
That makes a lot of sense, because Grant seems like a very energetic person. Like he seems like he can work 24/7 nonstop. And I think what you do is you give him like this target that keeps him busy, but you know how to take care of him at the same time. I feel. So y'all make a pretty
Thank
awesome
you.
team.
He'll complain that I don't have a meal ready for him. So I'm not perfect, but I try.
Yeah,
I try to make the environment calming and distraction free here, so that when he's at the battlefield, um, making the hard decisions,
yeah,
and that he's not distracted by his wife being upset or the kids being upset. There's problems going on everywhere. I want
yeah.
him to be focused enough to, when he does make really important decisions at work, that that they're made without the stress of work.
That's what you're saying.
Having said that, we're not perfect, and we do
Yeah,
get in fights, and it is hard and it is difficult. And you know, I'm only making my life transparent so that other people can see that that it's not always easy, but we
yeah,
figured a lot of things out. I'm not claiming to be in a fairy tale relationship, um, or that I have all the answers,
yeah.
but we do have a good thing.
Yeah, I agree. Marriage is very difficult, especially if you're wanting to achieve like something great. Like, I guess you could settle and be average and just kind of do the 9 to 5 and think your life is good. But I think once you start to get around successful people, like whenever I started getting around y'all and Tim's story, like it just kind of inspired me.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, you know what? Anything is possible. We just got to figure it out, and we got to push ourselves, and we got to overcome these arguments and overcome these disagreements and figure out how to work around those. Let me ask you this: like you said, like y'all's relationship. Did y'all get that advice from other marriage people? Like, who do y'all look up to as a marriage couple? Like, and say, you know what, this is like our marriage that we want to kind of mirror. I don't know, just
I don't have anyone, and
yeah,
I don't. Several years ago, and this is my little secret. I used to secretly look up to Brad and Angie.
okay, yeah,
And I used to think they have it all. They're gorgeous. They're celebrities. They travel the world. They have the kids. And I compared it with my life. I mean, I didn't tell Grant I was doing this, but I compared it with my life. And my life, I told you, is sometimes hard. Grant's equally as hard on me. Me claiming for him to be a billionaire. Well, he's made demands of me too, where I have to really grow and push myself as a woman and as a being and as a person. So sometimes when you go through that, it's really hard, but I would compare myself to them, and I would be like, well, can't Grant be like this or that? Or, I looked at, when Tom Cruise had that incident years ago where he jumped on the sofa and everyone thought he was crazy for that. I did not understand why people freaked out on that. That became the barometer. I was like, I want a man who would jump on a couch for me. Like that, I shouldn't settle for less than that. And I was like, Grant, you should be so excited that you'd jump on a couch for me. But what I learned from all of that is, every relationship has its problems, and you're not going to see them all unless somebody chooses to show them to you.
yeah,
And both of those marriages have disintegrated, and mine is still going. And I realized then that I can only depend on me and my husband for our relationship. And I say in my book, seek your own counsel. When we're going through something, I make it a very concerted effort not to go get everyone else's opinion on it, because they don't have 15 years of marriage. They don't have being married to a powerful entrepreneur, rearing 2 children. They're not in my shoes. How could they understand and give me advice as an outsider? Maybe a girlfriend has had relationships, or she's divorced, or that. How can she advise me? But if there was a relationship that had been in marriage more than me and understood what it really takes and has the kids and the similar, I would listen to what they would have to say, and I would value it, but I don't have it currently.
Yeah, I think that's very powerful that you're very transparent, because it kind of brings everything to light. So because you're not hiding everything, you're exposing it, and you're making it aware. So it makes you want to fix the problem. It makes you want to get better. It makes you want to improve. Let me ask you this. So like, you gave Grant the order, you need to be a billionaire, right? So whenever you give him that target, uh, how does that change the way that y'all need to show up as individuals? Like how did that change your character? Because like you kind of have to step it up as a person as well, right? If you want to kind of move up the ladder. So
Yeah.
what did you have to change within yourself to say, okay, you know what? If I expect this of him, I need to do this for myself. Like what was that?
I mean, it's on a daily basis how we hold ourselves accountable to the way we work out to
Mm,
um, I don't, it's just every single decision
yeah,
that we make. I mean, I made a personal decision not to do drugs or drink alcohol, and because of whatever reason, and who I hang out with, and all the self-education that I do, and self-enhancement work on, it all goes toward making myself better. And what I
yeah.
normally do is I picture who I want to be in 3 or 5 years,
Mm,
and that perfect person of who I want to be. I say where I'm at and what I'm doing and
mm.
the contributions I'm making, and then I come back into present time and I write a list. You see, a to-do
Yeah,
list.
that's a good exercise. That's a very
Great
good exercise.
exercise.
Yeah,
And I write a to-do list of, well, who do I have to become in order to be that person?
yeah,
So, I mean, I had to take finance courses, to martial arts helps me, to whatever. I write it
yeah.
all. How do I become a better mom? I took parenting courses. I've done a lot of work on myself in order to be the person that I want to be in the future.
Yeah, I want to say just by like following y'all over the years, I think your most I think the best course that you took was the martial arts, and I think you're gonna agree with me for that.
I do.
Uh,
I do.
I
I,
mean,
I can't even tell you how much that has changed my life. First of all, I think I used to think MMA was the bloodiest sport. I
yeah,
couldn't watch it. I don't like blood. I never got it. I never understood it. And now that I understand it, well, I'm obsessed and I watch it
yeah,
every single fight. And Grant's like, who are you? Because if I can't get it on, I freak out. But
yeah,
but I think MMA is, I mean, it's like peanuts
yeah,
compared to the business world, because you have
yeah,
a referee, you can tap out, you can let go. In the business world, it's ruthless, man. They will choke you out, stomp on you, shoot you five
yeah,
times, leave you to die. I mean, it's brutal. So,
yeah,
but what I've learned in the martial arts world, like just in confidence and in my own self, not that I'll ever be able to go get in a fight with a dude and win,
yeah,
like, no, but confidence in the discipline and
yeah,
dedication, getting myself as a, I'll only speak for myself, but as a female, from learning how to punch, which felt so
yeah,
foreign, still feels so foreign, but commanding my body to move in a way that I never thought was possible, and being strong enough to get hit in the face. I've had two massive black eyes from these guys punching me. I know I'm sensitive, but going through all of that,
yeah,
and like doing Brazilian jiu-jitsu, and having a guy and I knew it was coming, and I practiced on how to fall, but
yeah,
like having a guy push me to the ground was like,
yeah,
the first time it happened, it was like, what? And then after the 20 or 30th time, you're like, oh yeah, this is no big deal.
yeah,
And what that does for your confidence, when I go and speak on a stage, I'm still nervous, but I'm
yeah,
also like, you know what? I fight big dudes with tattoos
yeah.
that come at me and knock me to the ground. I think I can go out to an arena full of people clapping
Yeah.
for me, and it's going to be okay.
I think that martial arts like is it it doesn't really get the respect that it deserves, because like it builds up your confidence, it relieves stress, it takes your mind away from anything going on, because
That's why
like
I love it.
and I but I think the only down thing about it is like it's very addictive.
It
Like
is addictive.
if you if it, like I when I saw you training, I said, you know what, like she's getting addicted, because you weren't doing like kickboxing classes.
I
You
went
were,
every single day.
yeah, you have to go every day, because like the techniques are endless.
I know. I went every single okay for an hour and a half. I've had a couple injuries, like I tore my calf muscle, that sucked. And I also had a tear in my elbow, so I kind of had to chill, especially during quarantine, to perfect time to heal. But it is addicting, and it's also, it's also a game of chess, martial arts, and practicing discipline and how you're going to respond and how you're going to maneuver. It's so much like there's no difference in the entrepreneurial space, the way you calculate and have to plan and counter. And it's, to me, I tell my trainer, I'm like, if I had done this for as long as you have, I'd be better than you. I'm like, I would, I get it. Like, I get it.
It's
I
like,
just can't get it here.
It's crazy because like you you could train like all day and you won't be tired. I don't know why. Like it's like a good feeling because you're exhausted, but it's a good exhausted because I don't know. It's just, I guess because it relieves, like it clears your mind. I guess that's what it does. But
my girls are training. Sabrina is now addicted, and she's training with my old trainer for an hour to an hour and a half every day.
Oh, that's good.
And she's 11. So and Scarlett just started today. So when I get back, we're about to go out of town for about a month. But when I get back, I'll be ready to start training.
Has Grant trained, or he's like, nah, I don't give him.
Grant works out every single day and sometimes twice a day, but he's got some old injuries too that that kind of sport agitates. He's had some rotator issues. He's had some ankle issues. So he does cardio every day and weights, and he's in the best shape he's ever been in his life. But the martial arts training is just it's a little hard for him right now.
The like when Grant decided to like do that whole transformation, how did you support him through that? Because I think that like getting the momentum going is hard, but once you get it going, what are some things that you did to motivate him?
Well, the number one thing was he was complaining all the time about how much his body was hurting, and I was training at the time all the time, and my instructor said, I said, I don't know what to do. I've never heard him complain like this before. He's not a complainer. It's got to be real. And my instructor said, it's because he had all of those injuries. But he's gotta, even though it sounds contradictory, he's gotta develop the muscle, because the muscle is what's going to support the structure of the body. And it was at that time that I hired Anthony Rhodes, his trainer, that I found out of my gym. And I said, hey, Anthony, I need you to come to the house and train Grant. And he was like, whatever you need. And so we started on 2 days a week, and literally it was Grant's idea. And on week 2, he was up to 4 days a week. And on week 3, it was pretty much 5, 6, 7 days a week. And it's been like that nonstop. He's been consistent. So I support him on that. We get the intravenous IVs of the vitamins and the hydration, and testing his blood. And we're on supplements, vitamins that are tailored made for us, pharmaceutical vitamins prescribed for us. And so I do a lot of things. I'm always shoving water down him. I have word into the office to his executive assistant. I'm like, look, I know he's going to fight you on this, but just keep putting water in front of his face all day long. So, that's how I do it. I try to do things subtly and behind his back to where it seems like it's just happening. It's actually a very coordinated effort.
Let me ask you this. Are y'all still doing like the weekly planning? How often do y'all plan, like for y'all's, like review y'all's like goals and stuff?
We talk all the time about what's going on. So we don't really have a set
that's what you're saying.
unless we really need it. Recently, I started going off into this 10X Ladies Build an Empire. I'm kind of doing my own thing, but underneath the Cardone Enterprises umbrella. you know, I'm doing the 10X because I want to reach all the women that wouldn't find Grant organically for whatever reason. Maybe the same reason I wasn't attracted to Grant in the beginning. He's a little too hard, a little too, he just wasn't my vibe. So for all the women that won't find Grant on their own, it's an opportunity for me to be a catalyst where they could find me, build the empire kind of stuff, and then also be turned on to Grant and all of his valuable data with Cardone Enterprises, and find out about Cardone Capital and Cardone Ventures and all the stuff that we have under the Cardone umbrella. So when I kind of went out and started to do that on my own, not really, I used the resources of the office, but we needed to have more conversations so I could include him on my plan, so he wasn't just thinking I'm abandoning our thing to go off and do my own thing. So recently we've actually had to have more conversations than normal just so we can start working on the same page. I've never really started anything like this from the ground up. For myself, I've always supported him in doing it, but it was always him. Now it's me, so I have to, consult him and as much as I can and say, hey, what's the advice here? What angle should I do? I'm constantly trying to observe what works for him and all those other companies that we run, and trying to implement it into mine. So recently more conversations have been had because we have sort of I have a new endeavor and a new baby trying to develop.
So is that like a private mentor group of women?
It's not private, but every Wednesday I have a free 10X Ladies networking call. They can sign up at 10xladies.com/network.
Okay.
And in my ecosystem of women, I'm at 33,000. The next target's 100,000, and then the next target's 1 million. But yes, I have my Build an Empire online course, which is an interactive course they can take. And then I have my Build an Empire Mastermind coming up August 1st and 2nd. And it's not limited to women, but it's geared toward women. But we do have some men that make it into the fold, and they're definitely welcomed. I think they're smart. I think they're smart being around us.
Does that transition to like a couples retreat or something?
You know, I haven't done that yet, but that is a longer term goal. I've written a book. It's not done yet. I have the first 5 chapters released. If any guys out there are interested, you can go to empiremensbook.com. And I wrote a book, and it's almost complete, for men who are interested in finding a 10X lady, knowing what that looks like. If they're already with someone, how to get them on the same page, how to hit those heightened levels of success together, how to handle upsets, arguments. And so I really put that for guys, because so many of them have come to me and say, how do I get what y'all have? So I just tried to give as much data, valuable data, that I felt pertinent to help men understand what to look for, how to get it coordinated and on the same page, and really how to expand into those heightened levels of success, because that's my interest. So I've started with that. I have the women's group, and then as I grow and develop, I would love to have a couples sort of retreat or mastermind. And again, I'm not trying to, I want everyone to know that I will never be the woman or the relationship that claims that we live in this perfect fairy tale and look at our life, isn't it so happy? I'll be the first to tell you. One of the things that makes us so successful is, I say this all the time, find the one you trust and build an empire. Because I will tell you, after 16 years of marriage, maybe it doesn't happen for you, but for me, there are days where I doubt if I actually love this man. Thank God they're few and far in between. But even on those days, I can be trusted and he can be trusted to fulfill our roles in the relationship until we can reconvene and figure it out and get back on the same page. And it never fails. When we figure it out, we go to another level
Mm,
of fortitude, of strength, of power, of more in loveness.
yeah.
Sometimes when you're going through that bumpy ride, uh, it doesn't look perfect.
Yeah, that's
So,
true.
you know what I'm saying?
I, I,
So,
I wonder if like how you said like you question the love part of it, but I wonder if that goes back to like each of y'all are, you know, each of myself, my wife, like we're developing every day because we want to be better. So our expectations change and things that we want change. So you have to kind of reconnect and say, okay, you know what, maybe 5 years, I wanted you to make tortillas, but now I don't like tortillas or
that's
something, you know?
that's right. And then there's days when you have an argument and you're like, who is this person?
Yeah.
Um, but you know what? When you understand your purpose as a couple and you have agreed upon missions and purpose and goal, it's so much easier to come back and realize what is the main thing and what is the
Yeah.
importance. How can we help each other achieve our goals? Because when we achieve our goals, when I achieve my goals as an individual, if somebody helped me to do that, it makes me love them even more. That's what the
Yeah.
greatest act or the greatest gift of love is for me. When I
Yeah.
can give that to Grant and help him achieve his goals, that's how I can prove I love him, and not by, having to have uninterrupted turn off your computer TV time to prove it to me. That might
Yeah.
feel good in the
That's what I'm saying.
moment, but it's not long term. So when those moments of friction happen, it's easier to either dismiss it or to not take it so
Mhm.
personally, because when the goal is to win the Super Bowl and there was a fumble in game 3,
Yeah.
you can point fingers and blame each other and tear each other down, or you can just each take responsibility and say, you know what, I'm going to do better at catching those catches. And hey, if you're the quarterback, I'm going to do better at delivering the ball at the
Mm.
exact point where it's supposed to
Yeah.
be, and
Le-
so we're trying to win a Super Bowl.
Yeah. Let me ask you this, like, as far as like taking accountability, like, do you ask like, what could I have done better, or do you try to get input or of what could have went better?
You mean when we're in a fight?
Yeah.
No, when I'm in a fight, I'm pretty locked in on being right.
Yeah.
Um, but the thing about a fight is that when you walk away, you're left thinking. And so I'm
Mm.
always looking at what could I have done better, what can I take responsibility for, because I do refuse to be a victim, and
Yeah.
I refuse to let things happen to me. So I look at my part in everything, and that sinks in what he said. And I said, where's the truth in that, and how can I work with him? How can I get my own viewpoint? How can we come to terms with
Yeah.
this? And I think the same thing happens for him, because even in a fight where I feel like I'm met with opposition from him, then a few days later, someone will tell me something that he said about me, which came from the fight, but from my point of view,
Yeah.
in a positive way. It happened just recently. If somebody said, oh, Grant said, blah, blah, we need to help Elena with everything that she needs on this thing. And when I heard it, literally, I started crying. And I'm really not that emotional of a person, even though I am very sensitive. I was like, wait, these are happy tears. I'm like, you mean he said that? Like he's hearing me? And it does sink in,
Yeah.
So be patient with your partners.
Yeah. That's good. Tell me about your book. I ordered a bunch of books to give out, but I want to get some more. Uh, is there anything that you wish you would have put in the book that you left out?
You know what? No. I
Okay.
I will tell you that book is one of my greatest achievements. I was an extreme perfectionist in that book, and it came out exactly the way I wanted it.
Nice.
And I'm very proud of it. I also I had it translated into Spanish.
Mm.
There's a Spanish PDF. I did it in
Do
Audible.
you know Spanish?
No, I'm
Uh,
studying it on Duolingo
are
right now.
you? Oh, you know what? I saw that. I'm trying to get better on my Spanish as well.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
me too, especially in Miami. I'm like, I just feel like I feel like I'm left out.
I'm gonna keep you accountable to make sure you stay on track and do the same for me.
Okay,
We
yeah,
need to step up.
my daughter Scarlett has to remind me every day. She's on like day 280. She
Oh,
hasn't per day. She's perfect.
nice. Tell me about any future projects I have for the 10X family. What's going on with that?
Oh
And
God,
then we'll finish off.
we have so many things going on. Grant has a boot camp coming up in July.
Hmm.
We have, I have the 10X, I have Build an Empire
Okay.
Mastermind coming up August 1st and 2nd. I have Bay University, that's already out. That's an online course,
Okay.
which is really good for couples or individuals who want to understand and start to build an empire and understand how to get this right first.
Mhm.
And so that's been having some really big success. If anyone's interested, they can go to Bay Course, BA, Build an Empire, baycourse.com.
Okay.
So tons of stuff. You know, we've got 10X Growth Con we're planning for the beginning of next year. Real estate, Cardone Capital is about to go into its explosion of the opportunity fund. So there's so many exciting things going on in our universe.
Yeah. All right. Well, I appreciate your time. We definitely got to catch up again. It was good talking with you. Think we could probably talk for hours. There's so much stuff that
I love talking to you.
yeah. But
conversation.
yeah, we'll definitely connect again. Like I said, I appreciate your time. I appreciate your team getting back with me through email. Like I said, I want to order like 10 signed copies of your book.
Okay.
Have your assistant send me the link, and I'll pay for those or whatever I got to do. But and definitely we'll connect again. Tell Grant, tell the kids I said hello, and make sure we keep each other accountable for the Spanish. Next time I see you, we gotta try to talk in Spanish.
Oh, I love that. The thing that makes me quit like every time is how bad my pronunciation is.
Yeah.
It is so embarrassing.
But I'm probably at the same level as you. I'm not really too good at Spanish, but I can understand it, but I can't really, I just know like certain words because I have to in business. But as far as like a complete conversation, I probably can't do it yet.
No,
I'll get there.
Me either. I know. Just keep hanging in there. Believe in yourself. And man, that would be a real dream come true. You know, to be able to have a conversation in Spanish.
Yeah.
I was born in Madrid, Spain.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not Spanish though, but I was born in Spain, so that's count for something.
Have you gone back over there?
Yeah, I went to Barcelona, but not Madrid, and I loved it. So, but I was born an American citizen on Spanish soil. But I do have some of my Spanish friends that say because I was born in Spain, I'm Spanish. So
yeah, so you claim you're Spanish. Well, you live in by the beach, so you have to have some Spanish in you.
Oh yeah.
Hey, I'll talk to y'all guys later. Okay.
Okay.
Hey, thank you again. Send me that link. Send me the link, okay?
For which one?
For the books, if I can get the books from you. Okay?
I will.
Okay, bye-bye.
Okay, bye.